when you look at the situation right now, put yourself back in the White House in the Situation Room, what are you seeing that encourages you, or what are you seeing that worries you?
Well, look, Fareed, on the encouraging side, the U.S. military is just simply remarkable. It's remarkable at being able to achieve tactical objectives, to execute operations with skill, professionalism, and courage. And that has been proven out here over the course of the past week. But the discouraging part is we are asking the U.S. military to put itself in harm's way, and we've already lost 6 service members, pointed towards a completely unclear objective. The administration has not been able to say with any clarity whatsoever what the ultimate goal of this war is. And in fact, they've given perhaps a dozen different explanations, shifting by the hour, by the day. And here, a week into the war, to have that level of muddiness, that muddle, I think is a huge challenge, because it suggests that this war got launched without being fully thought through, and that the end of this war is something that we have no kind of core concept as to what it will bring, or how the president will ultimately come out and say, okay, I'm done, I'm moving on. And that leaves us in an extremely precarious position.
Do you think, you mentioned the skill of the U.S. military, which really is extraordinary. I wonder whether the success of the Venezuela operation, the ability to extract these 2 people, Maduro and his wife, so seamlessly, in a sense, gave President Trump too much confidence in using military force without thinking through that question of what is this strategy behind that tactical genius.
You know, it's interesting, Fareed. My co-host on the podcast, The Long Game, John Feiner, and I wrote an op-ed in the New York Times shortly after the Venezuela raid. And in it, we basically said President Trump is going to draw the wrong lesson from this. He's going to think we can use military force anywhere, anytime, for any purpose, and it will all work out just fine. And we also pointed out that when you start using military force, the appetite grows with the eating. And I think President Trump saw that Maduro raid, saw what our special forces could do, looked to Iran and said, hey, let's try to put them to use there too, but could not identify a clear set of objectives at the end of the day, and obviously could not identify an imminent threat to the United States, necessitating the launching of this war at this time in this way. And so now, a week in, I think what they're doing is sitting in the Situation Room and basically saying, okay, what do we do? Should we just call it now? Do we have to get to full regime change? Do we have to actually put boots on the ground, as we've seen some reports they're considering? They're sitting around looking at one another and kind of shrugging their shoulders. And this, I think, is the core strategic problem of the conflict at this point.